The alarm bells echoed through the command center of Earth's main defense station. Admiral Junho Kim stood at the central display, watching 300 alien ships appear from nowhere. Each vessel was massive, 10 times larger than Earth's biggest warships. The alien fleet hung in space like dark clouds blocking out the stars. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission," said Mi-young Choi from her station. She was the best intelligence officer Earth had, and even she looked nervous. "Put it through," Junho said. His voice stayed calm, but his hands gripped the rail tighter. The main screen flickered. A strange creature appeared. It looked like a mix between a fish and a human, with wet skin and large eyes. Water dripped from its face as it spoke. "I am Ambassador Veltar of the Nephron people. I speak for the Galactic Hegemony. You will listen." The command center fell silent. Everyone knew this day might come. For 70 years, humans had been spreading across the stars, building colonies on 47 different worlds. They knew other intelligent life existed, but contact had always been peaceful and brief. "Your species expands too quickly," Veltar continued. "You take systems without permission. You build weapons without reporting them. This behavior threatens galactic peace." Captain Woo Jin Lee stepped closer to the Admiral. "Sir, their ships are in attack formation," he whispered. Junho nodded but kept watching the screen. Veltar's wet eyes seemed to look right at him. "The Sui Hegemony offers you one chance. Stop all expansion beyond your current borders. Submit your military records to our inspection. Accept our guidance in your future development. You have 72 standard hours to agree." The transmission ended. The alien ships remained, waiting. "Get me the War Council," Junho ordered. "All department heads now." Within an hour, Earth's top leaders gathered in the secure meeting room. Haewon Park, Earth's best diplomat, sat across from General Tae Sunam, head of planetary defense. Scientists, military officers, and politicians filled the other seats. "Options?" Junho asked. "We should negotiate," Haewon said immediately. "This is exactly why we have diplomatic protocols. We can find a middle ground. With respect, Ambassador." "Park, they didn't come here to negotiate," General Nam replied. 300 warships isn't a diplomatic mission. It's a threat. "But we can't fight them," said Dr. Young-Ho Shin, Earth's top scientist. "Look at the size of those ships. Their technology is clearly more advanced than ours," Mi-young Choi cleared her throat. "Actually, sir, there's something you all need to know." She activated a holographic display. "We've been monitoring hegemony communications for the past 6 months. Their encrypted channels aren't as secure as they think." The room leaned forward. "They're not here to make us a junior partner," Mi-young continued. "Their real plan is complete control. They want to reduce humanity to a client species. Basically, slaves who mine resources and provide labor for their empire." "You're certain of this?" Haewon asked, her face pale. "Completely. They've done this to 16 other species. Same pattern every time. First the ultimatum, then negotiation that gives the target species hope, then gradual restrictions until they have no freedom left." General Nam slammed his fist on the table. "Then we fight." "With what?" Dr. Shin protested. "They have 300 ships." "They have 300 ships that have never faced real opposition," Captain Lee said quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. "I've been studying their formation. It's designed to look impressive, not to fight effectively. They expect us to surrender." "Because that's what every other species did," Mi-young added. "None of them had Earth's history of warfare." Junho stood and walked to the window. Outside, he could see the alien ships in the distance, dark shapes against the stars. Earth looked so peaceful from here, blue and green and beautiful. But appearances could be deceiving. "What do we know about their individual ship capabilities?" he asked. Mi-young pulled up another display. "Heavy shields, plasma weapons, good armor. But their tactics are predictable. They rely on overwhelming force and intimidation. They've never fought an enemy that used deception or unpredictable strategies." "How many ships do we have available?" Junho asked Captain Lee. "In this system?" 47 combat vessels, but we have assets scattered throughout human space. If we could coordinate—" "What kind of assets?" Captain Lee smiled for the first time that day. the kind that nobody talks about in diplomatic meetings. For the next several hours, they planned. Haewon Park tried several more times to argue for negotiation, but each time Mi Young showed her another intercepted message proving the aliens' true intentions. Finally, even the diplomat agreed there was no choice. 72 hours, General, Nam said. That's not much time. It's enough, Junho replied. They expect us to spend that time debating and preparing surrender documents. Instead, we'll use it to position our pieces. Sir, Captain Lee said hesitantly, you understand what this means? If we fight, there's no going back. Even if we win this battle, the entire hegemony will come after us. Then we better make sure we're ready for them too. As the meeting ended, Junho called Captain Lee aside. Those assets you mentioned, how quickly can they move? They're already in position, sir. We've had stealth ships stationed near hegemony supply lines for months. Standard reconnaissance, but they're armed and ready. Reconnaissance for what? Captain Lee looked uncomfortable. Sir, Earth Command has been preparing for this possibility since our first contact with alien technology. We knew eventually someone would try to stop our expansion. Junho felt a chill. How long have we been preparing? 50 years, sir. Ever since we detected the first alien signals. The Admiral walked back to the command center. Veltar's message played again on the screens. The same arrogant tone, the same assumption that humans would submit like all the others. Communications, he called out. Open a channel to the hegemony flagship. Channel open, sir. Junho looked directly into the camera. Ambassador Veltar, this is Admiral Kim of Earth Defense. We have received your ultimatum and will provide our response at 800 hours tomorrow. Prepare to receive it. He cut the transmission before Veltar could reply. Sir, Mi Young asked, what should I tell our ships? Junho watched the alien fleet on the display. They hung there so confidently, so certain of their superiority. They had no idea what was coming. Tell them to get ready to show these aliens what humans do when threatened. The countdown began, 68 hours until Earth's response. Ambassador Veltar floated in his water tank aboard the hegemony flagship, watching the timer count down. 63 hours remained until the humans responded. Around him, his staff prepared recording equipment to capture humanity's surrender for broadcast across the galaxy. Have the humans sent any preliminary communications? He asked his aide. None, Excellence. Their ships remain in defensive positions. No signs of fleet mobilization. Veltar felt satisfied. This was exactly how it always went. The target species spent the full-time limit debating, hoping, searching for alternatives that didn't exist. By the time they responded, they were mentally exhausted and ready to accept any terms that let them survive. Prepare the standard occupation protocols, he ordered. We'll need administrative teams ready to take control of their government systems. 3-star systems away, Commander Dong-hyun Park crouched in the cramped bridge of the stealth ship Ghost of Busan. His vessel had been hidden in the asteroid belt around the hegemony supply depot at Kepler 186 for 2 months. 26 other stealth ships waited at similar positions throughout hegemony space. Signal from Earth Command, his communications officer whispered. Execute Alpha Protocol at 0800 tomorrow. Dong-hyun smiled grimly. Alpha Protocol meant one thing, total war. No warnings, no mercy, no prisoners. Just like the aliens planned for humanity. All hands to battle stations, he ordered quietly. Check weapons systems. We get one shot at this. Back at Earth, Admiral Junho Kim stood in the war room surrounded by holographic displays showing ship positions across 12 star systems. Captain Woo-jin Lee pointed to various locations on the map. Here, here, and here, he said. Our stealth squadrons are positioned near their 3 main supply hubs. When we hit them simultaneously, their fleet here will be cut off from reinforcements and supplies. What about their communication network? Junho asked. Mi Young Choi highlighted several points on the display. Their primary relay station is here, at the edge of their territory. It's lightly defended because they never imagined anyone would attack it. If we take it out first, their fleet will lose contact with the rest of the hegemony. Timeline? The stealth ships can reach their targets in 18 hours. The communication relay attack needs to happen exactly 47 minutes before we engage their main fleet to prevent them from calling for help. Junho studied the plan one more time. Everything depended on perfect timing and the enemy's overconfidence. If the hegemony suspected what was coming, they could call in reinforcements and crush Earth's smaller fleet. "One more time," he said. "Why do we think this will work?" General Nam stepped forward. "Because they're not soldiers, sir. They're conquerors. There's a difference. Soldiers expect to fight. Conquerors expect to intimidate. The hegemony hasn't fought a real war in 300 years, Mi Young added. They've crushed 16 species, but those were all quick surrenders after shows of force. They've never faced an enemy that fights back. And their ship formations prove it, Captain Lee concluded. They're arranged for maximum visual impact, not tactical effectiveness. Their flagships are in front, their supply ships are exposed, and their escort vessels are scattered for show instead of concentrated for defense. Aboard the Ghost of Busan, Commander Dong Hyun watched the hegemony supply depot through his ship's sensors. Massive cargo vessels moved slowly between the station's docking arms, loaded with weapons and equipment meant for the fleet threatening Earth. 17 hours to execute, his tactical officer reported. Target selection? Primary target is the main fuel depot. Secondary targets are the weapons storage facility and the communication array. If we hit them in sequence, the explosions from the first will mask our approach to the others. Dong Hyun nodded. The Ghost of Busan was small compared to the alien vessels, but it carried enough firepower to level a city. More importantly, it was invisible to their sensors and completely unexpected. On Earth, the final preparations continued. Captain Lee's flagship Seoul's Pride had been reinforced with experimental weapons systems. The other Earth ships moved into carefully planned positions, appearing to maintain defensive formations while actually preparing for attack. "Sir," Mi Young called from her station, "we're receiving another transmission from the hegemony fleet." "Let's hear it." Veltar appeared on screen again, looking even more arrogant than before. "Admiral Kim, we detect no signs of preparation for surrender. Your ships remain in military positions. This concerns us." Jun-ho stepped into view of the camera. "Ambassador. Veltar, our response will be delivered as promised, at 0800 hours. We hope your species will be wise. The hegemony has no desire to harm humans unnecessarily. Cooperation will be rewarded." "We understand your position completely," Jun-ho replied. "Our response will make Earth's position equally clear." The transmission ended. Veltar's aide looked worried. "Excellence. Should we consider the possibility that they might resist?" Veltar made a dismissive sound. "With what? 47 small ships against our 300? Even if they were foolish enough to fight, the battle would last minutes." But their response seemed what? Defiant? That's normal. Every species makes brave speeches before accepting reality. Tomorrow morning they'll transmit their surrender. We'll occupy their worlds, and in 10 years they'll be grateful citizens of the hegemony. 16 hours before the attack, Commander Dong Hyun's stealth ship approached the hegemony communication relay. The massive station hung in empty space, its long antenna arrays reaching out like metal tentacles. A dozen guard ships patrolled around it, but their search patterns were lazy and predictable. No signs of increased alert status, his sensor operator reported. "They have no idea we're here. Weapons ready, fusion missiles armed and targeted. We can take out the entire station with one salvo." On Earth, Admiral Jun-ho made his final inspection of the fleet. The Seoul's Pride looked the same as always from the outside, but its weapon systems had been completely replaced. Instead of standard plasma cannons, it now carried railguns that could punch through any known shield technology. "Admiral," Captain Lee said quietly, "there's still time to reconsider. Once we start this, there's no stopping." "Captain, did you read Mi Young's latest intelligence report? The one about their colonization protocols?" "That's the one. Tell me, what happens to human children under hegemony rule?" Captain Lee's face darkened. "Genetic modification to make them better workers, separation from parents at age 6, indoctrination programs, and adult humans? Sterilization to control population, assignment to labor camps, punishment, centers for anyone who shows independence." Jun-ho turned to look at Earth through the viewport. "Captain, they didn't come here to negotiate. They came here to destroy everything that makes us human. The only choice we have is how we want to die, on our knees or fighting. Then we fight, sir. 8 hours to execute. All across human space, stealth ships made their final approaches. On Earth, 47 warships, prepared for the most important battle in human history. Ambassador Veltar floated in his tank, confident and comfortable. Tomorrow, the humans would surrender, and another species would join the hegemony. Simple, predictable, and profitable. He had no idea that at 800 hours, instead of receiving humanity's surrender, he would discover what happened when someone threatened Earth's children. At exactly 800 hours, Ambassador Veltar expected to receive humanity's surrender. Instead, the hegemony communication relay at the edge of their territory exploded in a brilliant flash of nuclear fire. Commander Donghyun Park watched the destruction through his ship's sensors as the Ghost of Busan raced away from the expanding debris field. The massive station's antenna arrays tumbled through space like broken bones. Direct hit on primary target, his weapons officer reported. Communication array is completely destroyed. Excellent. Signal the fleet. Phase 1 complete. Veltar's aide rushed into the command chamber, water sloshing from his emergency breathing apparatus. Excellence! We've lost contact with Central Command. What do you mean, lost contact? The relay station. It's gone. Destroyed. We're receiving no signals from hegemony space. For the first time, Veltar felt a cold sensation in his water tank. That's impossible. No one would dare attack hegemony infrastructure. Before his aide could respond, alerts began screaming throughout the ship. The main display showed impossible readings. Massive explosions at supply depots across 3 star systems. Report! Veltar commanded. Kepler 186 supply depot is gone, Excellence. Complete destruction. No survivors. And Gliese 6 and 67? Also destroyed. The weapons depot at Wolf 359 is under attack now. Veltar stared at the display. In the span of 10 minutes, the humans had crippled the hegemony's entire supply network in this sector. Ships that had been hidden for months suddenly revealed themselves, striking with devastating precision. How is this possible? He whispered. His tactical officer's voice was shaking. Excellence, we're detecting new contacts. Human ships are approaching our formation. On the bridge of the Soul's Pride, Captain Woo Jin Lee watched the alien fleet's reaction to Earth's surprise attack. The massive hegemony ships were breaking formation, trying to respond to threats they hadn't expected. Admiral Kim sends his regards, Lee said into his communication system. All ships, execute attack pattern Delta. The 47 Earth ships moved like a school of fish, each one following a precise plan. Instead of charging directly at the larger alien vessels, they spread out and began targeting the hegemony fleet's weakest points. The first Earth railgun shot punched through the shields of a hegemony cruiser like it was made of paper. The alien ship's hull cracked open, atmosphere streaming out in frozen clouds. Impossible! Veltar screamed. Their weapons can't penetrate our shields. But they could, and they were. Earth's ships had been designed specifically to fight hegemony technology. While the aliens expected humanity to develop defenses, they never imagined humans would create completely new offensive weapons. The battle that Veltar thought would last minutes stretched into hours. Every time the hegemony ships tried to form, up for a coordinated attack, smaller Earth vessels would dart in and cripple key systems. The humans fought like nothing the aliens had ever encountered. Why won't they surrender? Veltar demanded as another of his ships exploded. They're not trying to win a battle, Excellence, his tactical officer realized. They're trying to destroy our entire fleet. 3 days later, the surviving hegemony ships limped away from Earth. Of the 300 vessels that had arrived to demand surrender, only 68 remained functional. Earth had lost 12 ships, but Veltar's humiliation was just beginning. The hegemony's response was swift and brutal. If humans wanted to fight, they would learn what real warfare meant. A massive fleet of 800 ships was assembled, with orders to attack Earth's most vulnerable target, the agricultural colony on Kepler 442b. 2 million humans lived on that peaceful world, growing food for Earth's expanding colonies. It had no military defenses, no weapons factories, nothing that could threaten the hegemony. It was perfect for making an example. Governor Tae-hyun Choi stood on the observation deck of the Colonial Administration Building, watching the alien ships descend through Kepler 442b's atmosphere. His world was about to become a battlefield, and there was nowhere to run. "Sir," his aide said quietly, "the evacuation ships can only carry half our population." "Then we make hard choices," Tae-hyun replied. "Children and essential personnel first. Everyone else..." Everyone else fights, finished Commander Young Mai. Park, the local militia leader. She was a small woman, but her voice carried the authority of someone who had never backed down from anything. Fight with what? The governor asked. We have farming equipment and hunting rifles. Then we use farming equipment and hunting rifles, Young Mi said simply. They want to make an example of us? Let's make sure it's the right example. The hegemony landing began at dawn. Massive troop ships settled onto the colony's main continent, disgorging thousands of alien soldiers. Their orders were simple: occupy the major cities, capture the government, and hold the population hostage until Earth surrendered. They expected the humans to hide in their buildings and wait for rescue. Instead, they found themselves fighting for every street, every building, every room. The colonists had turned their entire world into a fortress. Farm machinery had been converted into weapons. Irrigation systems had become communication networks. Every human on the planet became a soldier. Captain Junseo Kim piloted his cargo hauler through the chaos, loading desperate families while Young Mi's militia held the aliens back. His ship was designed to carry grain, but now it carried Earth's most precious cargo: children who would live to fight another day. That's all we can take, his crew chief reported. We're overweight capacity already. Junseo looked at the families still waiting on the landing pad. Mothers holding babies, fathers carrying small children, all of them looking at his ship with desperate hope. Make room, he ordered. Strip out everything non-essential: seats, cargo equipment, life support reserves. We're not leaving anyone behind. Meanwhile, deep in the colonial underground, Yunji Lee coordinated a resistance network that the aliens couldn't understand. Every time they captured a building, humans appeared from hidden tunnels to attack their supply lines. Every time they secured an area, explosions would damage their equipment. How do they keep finding us? The hegemony field commander demanded. Sir, I think they're using the planet's infrastructure against us, his intelligence officer reported. Their water pipes, power cables, even their waste disposal systems, they're all connected. They can move anywhere without us detecting them. The siege of Kepler 442b lasted 3 weeks. Every day, more evacuation ships arrived to carry away civilians. Every day, the human defenders made the aliens pay for every meter of ground. Governor Tae-hyun fought alongside Young Mi's militia when the government building finally fell. As alien soldiers stormed the council chambers, he activated the final protocol. This is Governor Choi to all remaining personnel, he broadcast on all frequencies. Execute Omega Protocol. Repeat, execute Omega Protocol. Throughout the colony, fusion reactors began overloading. The aliens had barely 10 minutes to realize what was happening. The explosion could be seen from orbit. The entire colonial capital vanished in a sphere of nuclear fire, taking 10,000 alien soldiers with it. Captain Junseo's ship was the last to escape, carrying the final group of survivors. As Kepler 442b's surface burned behind them, he opened a communication channel to Earth. This is cargo hauler Incheon's hope. 1.7 million civilians evacuated successfully. The colony is lost, but the message is sent. Across the galaxy, other species watched the recordings of Kepler 442b's destruction. The humans had chosen to destroy their own world rather than let it be conquered. Not one colonist had surrendered. Not one human had begged for mercy. For the first time in 1,000 years, the galactic hegemony faced an enemy that preferred death to submission, and Earth was just getting started. The news of Kepler 442b's destruction spread across Earth like wildfire. Instead of mourning their losses, humanity reacted with something the galactic hegemony had never seen before: cold, calculated rage. Fleet Admiral Jae Sung Park stood before Earth's newly expanded War Council, addressing leaders from every human colony and military installation. The room was silent as he spoke. 2 million of our people died on Kepler 442b. They died because aliens thought they could threaten Earth's children. This ends now. Sir, interrupted General Ho Jin-yoon, our intelligence suggests the hegemony has over 10,000 ships across their territory. Even with our recent victories, we can't match those numbers. We don't need to match their numbers, replied Dr. Sujin Choi, head of experimental weapons development. We need to break their will to fight. She activated a holographic display, showing detailed files on each hegemony species. For 50 years, While we appeared to focus on peaceful expansion, we've been studying our potential enemies. Every species has weaknesses. Every species has fears. The display showed the aquatic Nepheron first. They breathe through specialized gills that require precisely maintained water chemistry. We've developed weapons that can alter the molecular structure of their breathing water within seconds. Next came the energy-based Luxori. They exist as organized plasma fields. We've created frequency scramblers that disrupt their consciousness, causing immediate death. One by one, Dr. Choi revealed humanity's preparations, biological weapons designed for the plant like Threndar, sonic weapons that shattered the crystalline Cathari, radiation bursts that poisoned the silicon-based Voltan. My God, whispered Ambassador Haewon Park, who still attended these meetings despite their diplomatic failure. We've been planning genocide. No, Admiral Park replied firmly. We've been planning survival. There's a difference. Intelligence Officer Mi-young Choi stepped forward. Sir, we have more than weapons. Agent Kyung-hwan Kim's infiltration teams have been operating throughout hegemony space for 2 decades. The display changed to show human agents working within alien governments, military forces, and commercial organizations. Most had undergone radical surgical alterations to appear as different species. They've been collecting intelligence, identifying targets, and building resistance networks among conquered species. When we give the signal, 17 worlds will erupt in simultaneous rebellion. Admiral Park nodded grimly. The hegemony made one critical mistake. They assumed we were like them, conquerors who would accept submission when faced with superior force. They never considered that we might be something else entirely. What are we? Asked General Yoon. We're survivors, General, and survivors don't just adapt to threats, they eliminate them. The human counterattack began 3 days later, but it wasn't what anyone expected. Instead of massive fleet battles, Earth's forces struck like ghosts throughout hegemony space. Small ships appeared from nowhere, destroyed key installations, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. Commander Min-jun Lee coordinated psychological warfare operations from his stealth command ship. His specialty was breaking enemy morale without firing a shot. Target the Nephron colony at Kepler 452c, he ordered his team. Deploy the water contamination devices around their major cities. Sir, that will kill millions of civilians, his aide protested. No, it won't. We're using the non-lethal variant. It just makes their water taste like death for a week. But they don't know that. They'll think we're trying to commit genocide and evacuate the entire planet. It worked perfectly. Within hours, panic spread. Through the Nephron colonies, entire populations fled their worlds, clogging space lanes and overwhelming refugee centers. The hegemony had to divert massive resources to handle the crisis. Similar operations targeted every major species. The Luxori found their energy fields fluctuating randomly, making them think they were dying. The plant like Threndar discovered. Their soil was contaminated with harmless but terrifying-looking fungal growths. The crystalline Cathari heard sounds that made them believe their structures were cracking. None of the attacks actually killed anyone, but the psychological effect was devastating. Entire species demanded protection from the human monsters who seemed capable of striking anywhere. Meanwhile, Agent Kyung-hwan Kim's infiltration network activated across 17 worlds. Humans who had spent decades building trust within alien communities suddenly revealed their true purpose. On the hegemony industrial world of Vega Prime, Agent Kim himself led a team that shut down the primary weapons manufacturing facility. They didn't destroy it, they reprogrammed the automated systems to produce defective ammunition. Sir, we could cripple their entire military production, suggested his second-in-command. No, Kim replied. That would make them desperate. Instead, we make them ineffective. Their weapons will misfire, their ships will break down, their equipment will fail at crucial moments. They'll lose confidence in their own technology. The plan worked beyond expectations. Hegemony forces found themselves unable to trust their own equipment. Ships developed mysterious malfunctions. Weapons systems failed during critical battles. Supply shipments arrived with spoiled provisions or contaminated fuel. The psychological pressure was immense. Military commanders began reporting equipment failures that weren't really there. Soldiers refused to use weapons they thought might explode in their hands. Entire fleets returned to base rather than risk combat with unreliable systems. But the most devastating blow came from an unexpected source, the hegemony's own history. Dr. Choi's research teams had uncovered something the alien coalition had kept secret for centuries. The original formation of the hegemony hadn't been voluntary. The dominant species had conquered the others through brutal warfare, then rewritten history to claim it was a peaceful alliance. Agent Kim's network released this information simultaneously across all hegemony worlds, along with detailed evidence of each species' suppressed grievances against their overlords. Ancient territorial disputes suddenly resurfaced. Species that had coexisted for centuries remembered why they had hated each other. The Nephron accused the Luxori of stealing their water rights. The Threndar demanded return of agricultural worlds seized 500 years ago. "It's beautiful," Admiral Park said as he watched the reports flowing in. "They're tearing themselves apart, and we barely had to fire a shot." The breaking point came when the hegemony capital world of Zentris Prime found itself under siege, not from human forces, but from 4 of its own member species demanding independence. The Voltan arrived first, their silicon-based ships bristling with weapons they'd hidden for centuries. They were followed by the Cathari crystal ships, singing their ancient war songs. The plant-like Threndar brought biological weapons that turned the capital's beautiful gardens into toxic wastelands. Finally, the energy-based Luxori surrounded the planet with a field of disruptive plasma. "This is impossible," the Hegemony Supreme Council broadcast desperately. "We are united. We have been at peace for 1,000 years." "Peace built on lies," replied the Voltan commander. "We remember the burning of Kepler 186. We remember the massacre of Wolf 359. We remember everything you tried to make us forget." In just 3 months, the 1,000-year-old galactic hegemony collapsed, not from military defeat, but from the revelation of truths they had tried to bury. Species that had submitted to avoid extinction suddenly realized they outnumbered their oppressors. Admiral Park received the final report while standing on Earth's orbital station. Commander Lee approached with a data pad. "Sir, the last hegemony fleet has surrendered. The war is over." "No, Commander. The war is over, but our work isn't. Send a message to all former hegemony worlds. Tell them Earth is calling a new council. Tell them it's time to build a better galaxy." "Sir, what makes you think they'll accept human leadership after what we just did to them?" Admiral Park smiled as he watched Earth's blue surface below. "Because we just proved that we keep our promises, Commander. We promised to destroy anyone who threatened our children. We kept that promise. Now we're promising them something better than the hegemony ever offered." "Which is?" "A chance to survive in a galaxy where humanity sets the rules." The message went out across the galaxy within hours. Earth was offering terms, but they weren't negotiable. Any species that wanted to exist in human space would accept Earth's authority. Any species that refused would find themselves alone in a very dangerous universe. The response was unanimous acceptance. The galaxy had learned what happened when someone threatened Earth's children. They had no intention of learning what happened when someone threatened Earth itself. 6 months after the hegemony's collapse, the galaxy looked very different. The former capital world of Zentris Prime now hosted the reformed Galactic Council, but the building that once housed alien overlords now served human administrators. Ambassador Inho Lee walked through the marble halls where hegemony leaders had once decided the fate of 16 species. Now those same aliens sat in smaller chairs around a circular table, listening as he explained the new reality. "The reformed council will function differently than its predecessor," Inho said calmly, his voice echoing in the vast chamber. "Each species will maintain internal self-governance, but external policies must be approved by Earth Command." The Nephran representative, still dripping water from his breathing apparatus, raised a tentacle. "Ambassador Lee, what guarantees do we have that humans will not become the oppressors the hegemony was?" Inho smiled politely. "The same guarantee we gave the hegemony when they threatened our children. If we abuse our authority, you're free to resist. Of course, you've seen what happens to species that make war on humanity." The chamber fell silent. Everyone had seen the recordings from Kepler 442b, humans choosing death over submission, destroying their own world rather than let it be conquered. Commander Soo-Young Park stood at attention behind the ambassador, her uniform displaying the new insignia of Earth's Galactic Administration. She commanded the occupation forces that maintained order on former hegemony worlds, but her troops were nothing like the old alien enforcers. The difference, Inho continued, is that we offer you something the hegemony never did, the chance to earn your freedom back. Prove your species can coexist peacefully, contribute to galactic prosperity, and respect human authority, and you'll be granted increasing autonomy. The crystalline Cathari representative made a sound like wind chimes. And if we refuse, then you'll discover why the hegemony fell in 3 months, Commander Park said quietly. They had 1,000 years to build their empire. We dismantled it in 1 season. Director Gitai Choi watched the proceedings from the observation gallery above. As head of the pacification program, he oversaw the monitoring networks that tracked every ship movement, every communication, every political development throughout former hegemony space. His assistant approached with a data pad. Sir, the weekly reports from all sectors. Gitai scanned the information quickly. Agricultural output on former Threndar worlds was up 30% since human oversight began. The Voltan mining operations were exceeding quotas for the first time in decades. Even the Luxori energy collectives were producing more power than they had under hegemony rule. Interesting, he murmured. Fear makes them more efficient than oppression ever did. The truth was that Earth's rule was remarkably light compared to what the aliens expected. Human administrators focused on results rather than control. As long as each species met their obligations, resource quotas, shipping schedules, defense cooperation, they were left alone to govern themselves. But the monitoring never stopped. Every alien leader knew that human agents watched their every move. Every species understood that Earth's intelligence network could identify and eliminate threats before they fully formed. Chief Ara Kim ran that intelligence network from a secure facility beneath the Reformed Council building. Her office. Walls displayed real-time data from thousands of monitoring stations throughout the galaxy. Director Choi, she called over the communication system. We have a situation developing on Kepler 438b. Gitai appeared on her screen within seconds. What kind of situation? The local Nephron population is organizing protests against human shipping regulations. Nothing violent yet, but the rhetoric is escalating. Recommendations? Ara pulled up detailed psychological profiles of the protest leaders. Classic post-conquest stress reaction. They're testing our boundaries, seeing how we respond to dissent. I recommend a demonstration of consequences. What did you have in mind? The protest leaders all have family members working on other worlds. We temporarily reassign those family members to less desirable positions. When the leaders realize their actions affect their loved ones, the protests will stop. And if they don't stop, then we escalate until they do. The key is making sure every alien in the galaxy understands that resistance has consequences, not just for them, but for everyone they care about. The strategy worked perfectly. Within a week, the protests on Kepler 438b ended as the organizers chose their families' welfare over political resistance. The message spread throughout alien communities. Earth's authority extended everywhere, and defiance was futile. But the most powerful demonstration of human control came from an unexpected source. The Luxori, being energy-based beings, had always considered themselves superior to physical species. They began secretly developing new weapons, believing their unique nature would protect them from human retaliation. Agent teams discovered the weapon program during a routine inspection. Instead of destroying the facility, Earth made a different choice. "Bring me the Luxori Council," Inho ordered. The 3 energy beings appeared in the council chamber, their plasma forms crackling with nervous energy. They knew they had been caught, but they expected punishment typical of the old hegemony: fines, reduced quotas, perhaps restricted movement. Instead, Inho activated a small device on his desk. The Luxori energy forms immediately began to flicker and distort. "This is a frequency modulator," he explained calmly as the aliens writhed in apparent agony. "We developed it specifically for your species. It doesn't harm you permanently, but as you can see, it makes your existence rather unpleasant." He turned off the device. The Luxori forms stabilized, but their normal brightness had dimmed considerably. The old hegemony would have destroyed your weapon facility and punished the scientists involved, Inho continued. We took a different approach. We've modified every Luxori on every world in the galaxy. You now carry microscopic devices in your energy matrix. If any member of your species acts against human interests, we can activate these devices simultaneously. The lead Luxori could barely form words. You've infected our entire species? We've ensured your cooperation. The devices are permanent and cannot be removed without destroying your consciousness. From now on, your species' survival depends entirely on maintaining human approval. The demonstration had its intended effect. Word spread through alien communities that humanity had capabilities beyond anything the hegemony had possessed. Earth could strike at any species, anywhere, at any time, in ways specifically designed to exploit their unique vulnerabilities. But perhaps the most chilling revelation came during a private meeting between Inho and the former hegemony leadership. Ambassador Veltar, still confined to his water tank but now a prisoner rather than a ruler, asked the question that haunted every alien in the galaxy. How long have you been planning this? He demanded. Inho consulted a data pad before answering. Our first contact with alien technology was 73 years ago, when we detected hegemony signals from deep space. From that moment, we knew eventually someone would try to stop our expansion. 73 years, Veltar whispered. Every peaceful colony we established was a forward military base. Every cultural exchange program was an intelligence-gathering operation. Every trade mission was reconnaissance for future military action. We've been preparing for this war since before most of your current leaders were born. But why? Why not seek genuine peace? Inho's expression didn't change, because history taught us that peace is what the strong offer the weak when they want something. We preferred to be the ones making the offers. The final piece of Earth's control structure fell into place when the Reformed Council unanimously approved the Human Protection Accords. Every species in the galaxy formally acknowledged Earth's right to intervene in any situation that might threaten human interests. Commander Park read the document aloud. All signatory species agree that humanity's expansion and development shall proceed without interference. Any action, policy, or situation that Earth deems threatening to human welfare will be addressed through appropriate measures, as determined solely by Earth Command. The Nephron representative raised a tentacle. What defines threatening to human welfare? Whatever we say it does, Park replied simply. Today it might be weapons development. Tomorrow it could be resource hoarding. Next week it might be refusing to smile when humans visit your worlds. The definition can change based on our needs. That's completely arbitrary? Yes, it is, and that's exactly the point. As the council session ended, aliens filed out of the chamber with the quiet resignation of a conquered people. They had learned the harsh truth about humanity. Earth hadn't sought to join the galactic community. They had planned to replace it. Inho remained in the chamber long after the aliens left, standing at the great window that looked out over Zentris Prime's sprawling capital. Ships moved through the sky in carefully controlled patterns, following flight paths approved by human traffic controllers. Alien workers hurried through the streets, their schedules dictated by human efficiency requirements. Director Choi joined him at the window. Any regrets, Ambassador? About which part? Destroying the hegemony? Conquering 16 species, or lying about our intentions for 70 years?